Hey guys, it's Nemo and welcome to the channel. Today is a World of Warships video featuring the USSR Moskva. Now the Moskva has been appearing a lot lately in game, as with the Donskoy, as a lot of people are afraid that in 9.5 it is going to be removed. It's only going to be taken out of the tech tree. You will still be able to get it, so do not worry if it disappears from the tech line, because it is still available in the game. Now the Moskva, or old battleship Moskva as she used to be known because she's so tanky, is a very good ship, but it is so different to the line that it tops. And the reason is because most of the time you play this ship bow in. Now I would actually recommend a kiting position, but you will see me playing this ship in a mainly bow in position in this game. The reason that I would play her in a kiting position is because of the absolute high explosive spam aircraft carriers, so you need to be able to move around. Being bow in is not a very good tactic in the current meta, because you will just get absolutely farmed to death. Now the Moskva has 9 220mm guns, and they are amazing. They are rail guns. 985 meters per second is the velocity on the shells, which means that her shells get across the battlefield very fast, and they can do a fair bit of damage. Now she has a 50mm armor decking, which is significant because most ships can't actually penetrate her even with IFHE. Your biggest nemesis will actually be the Hakuryu with her armor piercing bombs, and the Venezia with her sap that can penetrate 53mm of armor. So your armor decking against those two things is not very good. That's why I'd suggest playing her as a kiting cruiser as opposed to a bow-on ship. Now be careful when you do kite, because kiting will get you killed if you angle wrong. The Moskva has a very soft broadside armor, so it looks thick when you have a look at the armor profile, but if you get hit in that armor, you're actually going to take a lot of damage. The citadel damage is quite high in this ship, so if you ever see a broadside Moskva, hit it, because you will absolutely wreck it. Positioning for this ship, because of her extremely weak sides, is everything. You can get, if you do get into a position, so for the example, the position I'm in now is beside an island. There's nothing on my flank, I've got ships in front of me. It's quite strong for a Moskva, because one, I can radar this entire cap, so I've got this cap controlled, plus I can keep anything in front of me away. Now you may have noticed the divisions when we loaded in, it's quite a stacked game, and the enemy has a couple of pants players, there's Repoy players here, there's also a Caxa player, so some really good players in this game, although the Caxa guy just got absolutely railed on by the Kleb. Now there is a bit of a replay bug, as you can see. The Kleb was the one that killed the Zhao, but it said that he was bombed, so don't worry about that. It's just a replay bug. There's been a couple of bugs in the replay lately. So this kind of picketing gameplay is not riveting, but the nature of World of Warships is slow. Things don't happen very fast because of warships in general. You know, they're in the ocean, they take a long time to maneuver. Things don't happen very fast. So if you're looking for fun and exciting gameplay, the fun, yes, is here, but excitement isn't really there. That fast-paced action doesn't happen in warships. So it's all about positioning, and most games are about attrition, so wearing down your enemy. Now, as you can see, there's shots coming in from the Yamato down there, and the 50mm deck is good enough to actually mitigate most of that damage. As you can see, he just hit through the weakest part, like the biggest part that will be destroyed on my deck area, other than my superstructure, would be my turrets. So you don't want the Yamato hitting your turrets because that could be bad, but it's going to be relatively okay. Now, the reason that took a lot of damage, after me just speaking about how my deck armor mitigates, is there is a weak spot in the Moskva. See right there behind the second turret, just before the superstructure. It's extremely soft through there, and long range dipping fire, so fire that comes in from above and then starts to fall in towards your ship, you can get citadeled in between your superstructure and your second turret. So careful of that when you're playing. It's quite notorious, and a lot of people are not actually aware of it, but that's why I took all that damage through the front there. So positioning and awareness are some of the top things that we try to, if you learn those in World of Warships, especially positioning, you've got more than 80% of your battle 1, your game affected, because after that it just comes down to right shot selection, and your aim. Don't worry if your aim is not very good, because especially with a ship like the Moskva, where you're firing every 10 to 11 seconds. If you run the reload, it's even faster again. You can mitigate a lot of the inaccuracies by firing so much. Now our Yami helps me out here, which is, he's been tanking a lot of the damage, which is really good for from him to help me out, but it's still a little bit, there's still 4 ships behind here, and I don't think we do. And you might see there, Fat Cat actually said well done. They were laughing, Penguin and Fat Cat were laughing at me, because I'd been here partying up with these other 3 guys for the entire battle, and I wasn't going to be able to get out of there. I had all them in the way. Not only that, I've got the 2 ships down in front of me here, plus the Yamato on my side. So for me, I'm going to be here the entire game. My surface detection is over 14 kilometers, so it's going to be hard to disengage. The Des Moines, he can actually get out of here and move, but not me. The battleships might have a harder time, like a relatively hard time disengaging too, but they've got the amount of health that they can trade to get out of here. The Moskva just doesn't have. Yes, she has 65,400 hit points, but it'll evaporate extremely quickly if you try to disengage against broadside battleships. Now the game is, I would say, relatively won, but in World of Warships nothing is ever won. It's never over until it's actually over. But if you have a look, we're about to control all 3 caps, and our ships are in an area where they can affect the battle on the E line, whereas the majority of the enemy ships are further back. Yes, playing range is great, and as I said, I run the range module, but you need to be dealing out damage to justify using the range. Now, if you had a scene there, we had a team kill. It was Penguin killed Fat Cat. Now what was happening is that the aircraft carrier had been taking on Fat Cat the entire game, and was trying to get him down, and then he's like, no way, I'm not going down to this guy from Pants. And so Penguin was like, well, I'll help you with that, and he shot him, and he didn't get killed by anyone from Pants. So there we go. So if you have a look up in the top right hand corner, we have 2.3, now 4 million potential damage against our ship. That's 2.4, almost 2.5 million, now it's 2.5 million potential damage that has not hit other ships. So it hasn't been fired at softer ships, easier targets to kill. They've been trying to knock me off and damage me the entire battle, but doing what I've been doing has just been completely frustrating the enemy. Now, you don't need to go out. Here I actually go a little bit too far forward. I could have been wrecked like you wouldn't believe, because the top end of that nose, as I said, is only 25 millimeters, so it can be hit pretty hard. We get the Witherer achievement, which is really, really good. It's something that's handy to have. All your medals that you get are really handy to have. So this is where I said before, the game is sort of won because we had all the caps and that. This happens in World of Warships all the time. See, we've had multiple kills against us. The team is starting to evaporate, unfortunately. We do have a massive points lead, which is handy. But it's only going to take 1 or 2 more kills, and the entire battle is swung in the enemy's favour. So be careful of your positioning. Now, the reason I'm backing up here is I am expecting the Zhao to keep coming up. I'm trying to defend against him, but also get in a position where I can get shots off against the enemy ships. I am spotted here that my tail is out. As you see, my stern's out quite a bit. I could actually be hit by that far Yamato, so I've got to be really careful there. Now, when you get into a position where you lock down the enemy, even though it may cost you your ship, if you are dealing out damage and you are stopping them from getting up around the sides, just keep that position. Just keep it, and you know, you being there as a picket is going to be more effective than you sailing out, obviously, and getting killed. Don't worry about having to get in and do the big heavy action stuff. That's not what you do with this sort of ship. This ship it hugs that rock, and it just absolutely kills whatever comes near it at the long ranges, and it's really effective with its radar. Now, I did get killed by the enemy. I did come out a bit too far, but we did win the battle not long after that. So 163,343 damage, not too bad. 10 fires. See, the HE does actually do pretty good. And third on the team, again, not bad. As you can see, both those teams are pretty stacked. Unfortunately, our Cactus went down early. But this ship is absolutely flooding games at the moment, so is the Donskoy. Great ships to play. Anyway, how do we build it? Main armaments mod 1. Radar mod 1 if you have it. If you don't, then it's damage control system mod 1. Aiming systems mod 1. Damage control system mod 2, but propulsion modification 1 will also work well in your favour. Concealment modification 1, because you can be seen from the moon anyway, and then I run gunfire control 2, which is range, but main battery 3, which is reload, is viable as well. Now, if you have a Znamensky brother, I would run these guys. They're perfect for the Moskva and Stalingrad. Priority target as our number 1. Expert marksman is our second skill. Our third skill, superintendent, and then our fourth is concealment expert. That's our first 10 points. Then we're going to spec into expert loader, high alert, adrenaline rush, and then last but definitely not least is fire prevention. So, as I said, top ship, really good bow on, not as good in a kiting position, but because if you run range, you know, I would run kiting position with range, because you can hit things, you know, quite far. So it's like over 20 kilometers away. So do that, because if you're slinging those little HE shells, even your AP shells at that kind of range, you're going to do a fair bit of damage. Just don't show any broadside, whether you bow in or you're playing in a kiting position, because that will be the end of you. Anyway, I hope you get something out of this. It's a great ship. Thanks for joining me, and stay safe out there.